Hi, everyone. It is your Coupa educator, Patricia here, and we are going to be going over the e-file. So today we are going to be working with acrylic and soft gel tip just to compare the differences between the two, and then I will show you how to use your e-file to create or do both enhancements, basically to apply both enhancements. All right, so before we get started, I do want to promote a new product, a oldie but goodie but new little thing, new to you. It is the Passport Companion. So this bundle automatically comes with the handpiece, so that way you don't have to buy the handpiece separately. So now we have it packaged together, and the handpiece is, if you notice, just a little bit bigger than the KP60. So you'll see here it's just a little bit longer, but it's still pretty equal in the weight. This is the SoCal Collection handpiece, so you can see it is just a bit shorter than the Companion, but again, the weight is roughly the same. So this is what will be coming in your Passport Companion, and it is basically both the Passport e-file and the matching handpiece to go with it. So just wanted to give you guys a rundown on what was new. And now we will go into using your Passport. So for the e-file today, what we're going to be doing is removing nails. So I'll show you how to debulk with our e-file and what bits that I like to use. And then we will do an acrylic nail and a soft gel tip nail. I'll prep and then go over finish filing and all that stuff with you. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to switch out our bit, and I'm going to go for I'm like, where is my Typhoon bit? Okay, here we go. So I have my Typhoon bit in coarse. And oh, you will also get just like the standard like pin that goes into your handpiece, and you'll want to make sure this is on there so that way no dust or anything like that will get inside. Whew, almost sneezed, sorry. I was like, oh, glitching. So you're going to want to make sure this is inside when you don't have a bit in. The bits are carbide. If you were to drop them or anything like that by accident, these could potentially snap off inside of your handpiece, and you don't want it to get lodged, you know, into the mechanics of the handpiece. So this pin is actually, I believe, steel. So it's not going to break as easily as the carbide bit. So just to give you guys, you know, just some background on that, you always want to make sure that is in your handpiece when it's not in use. Okay, so I'm going to put my bit in with some of the shank exposed. I don't like to use it like this because it will cause friction inside when the bottom of the piece is touching the inside of your handpiece. So I do like to leave a bit out just like that, and use it that way so it doesn't get as hot or cause so much friction. All right, and for debulking, I am going to, I'll just use maybe these two. I feel like we always do these two. Yeah. Okay, so on a little bit of a higher speed, oh, this one, yeah. This one's not the next, so it's not going to have the digital display, unfortunately. But for more seasoned text, you're probably going to be able to feel the difference. So I'm just going to remove, and you can see with the coarse Typhoon bit how easy it is to remove the polish and to debulk the product. Since we're going to be doing a new set, so this is just removing if you were just removing the polish, but if you're going to do a new set, you can just get a little nail clipper and just clip the tip of it off so you're not filing forever. Let me see if I have my all the way at the bottom. My nail clipper. Okay. Woo. Sorry. It's like, sorry. Okay. Just gonna okay, so, well, this is really a nipper, but I'm gonna use this one because it's like for toenails, just to remove. I should do this first so that way I'm not, like I said, filing forever and ever. Just remove the tip like that, and then I will continue to debulk. So I like to move up to down. I feel like that's just an easy way for me to debulk. And then as we get a little lower, then I'll start to go side to side. So you'll see it's kind of a little easier and you can move around more. It helps from keeping the nail from getting too hot, because when you're debulking, it can kind of get warm on the client's natural nail bed and you don't want to cause them any discomfort. So I like to move around a lot as much as I can, and I'm not using too much force, like weighing the handpiece down, so that way it also doesn't cause as much heat and friction from the heat that way. So now I'm going to go side to side when getting a little closer to the cuticle, and use the back of my bit here on the side. And I'm just going to debulk. As it gets closer to the nail bed, I'll move a little slower, and I'm basically trying to look to make sure I'm not on the nail bed. So you can see here it's been ombre with a couple different colors. So that's just all you're seeing here is the pink and the versus the peach uh, gel or acrylic that she has underneath. So that's what that is. But I'm just trying to make sure that I don't get into the nail bed because I don't want to harm the client. So as we're getting lower, just be sure to be paying attention to those things. Okay. Okay. Just filing away here. Debulking is not like the fun part at all, but I just want to show you how quick the process is with the coarse bit. And again, the Typhoon bits are great because they're safety bits. So even if you are a beginner nail tech, it's still quite easy to use and safe. Okay. All right, so there we go. So we're on the natural nail. There, you can probably still see there's a very thin layer um, of gel, and I leave that on You'll see. I leave that on just because, again, I don't like to go into the client's natural nail. Once I get to a very, very thin layer of the gel, I know with my sanding band, I can, let me just turn that off because it's kind of loud. When I get into using the sanding band and prepping the nail, this thin layer will most likely come off with that. And I feel more comfortable using a sanding band or a prepper bit on the natural nail than a carbide bit. So that's why there's still, you know, gel still left on the nail because I, again, do not want to use a carbide bit on the natural nail. So just be mindful of that. Try it if you can. You can see here on the side, all of this is still, I know there's two different layers because, again, like I showed you, there were three different colors that she had on there from overlays. But if you look on the side here, you'll see there's still gel all around the nail. Like I did not touch the natural nail with the carbide bit, okay? So just be mindful so that way you don't harm your client. Okay, so now with my sanding band, I am going to, oops, sorry, hit her there with that. Okay, I'm all dusty. Okay, actually want to dust the handpiece too while I'm switching bits. I don't want to get dust inside of the handpiece if possible. I don't want that down in the cullet, sorry, area. I'm trying to find the word. So on a lower speed, um, you'll see I just have it low here. The notch is down at the bottom. This is where it's turned on at. I'm just going to use a lower speed to prep. So I'm just going to go around and remove the remaining remnants of the gel, all that little thin stuff that's in there. Turn this up just a smidgen. Yes. Okay, so you guys are asking if the stand, the cradle, if it comes with the passport, and they do. It's going to come with, now that I'm done prepping that real quick, I'll show you guys. So these are the accessories that you will get with your, aside from the AC adapter and all of that. Um, oh, I wore red today, and of course the handpiece is red. But you will receive the holder for the handpiece, and you will receive the cradle for your e-file. So these will come in your box, and you can, just attach this like this, slide it down. It just goes in and then slides down, and there's going to be an interlocking mechanism. On the side here, you'll notice there's like a little rubber notch. So when you're using, like if you're using this little attachment for your clothing or your belt, if you push down on this, you'll notice it's more sturdy. Oops, see, it even made this thing come off. So that way, if you're using your e-file and you have your passport attached to your belt, this won't just slip out while when you bend down. I could just do it like this, I guess, to show you. But yeah, so it's for when that happens. So you'll have to like hold this down and then pull this back up. But this rubber notch here helps just keep that handpiece in place for you. So, just a little tidbit. Okay, so let me just turn this down because I can hear the live on my phone. Sorry. Okay, so we prepped this nail. And let me just file all the dust off, or buff all the dust off rather, with the brush. And then I'm going to use a regular nipper to just kind of get all of the dead skin off the, the cuticle there. And she has some hang nails, like hanging skin, and I usually just go in and cut that off so it doesn't like keep, going back further. But usually when you're doing the cuticle, you don't want to get too much of the skin because you don't want it to continue to peel. And this is all just dry skin. You can take your diamond bit too, and I have my prepper bit here, and this is a diamond bit. So again, these are safe to use on the skin and the natural nail if you need to, just like remove a callus or anything like that. There we go. I didn't have it in place. I want to make sure. So what I like to do sometimes is I'll use the bit and kind of just hit where there's dry skin, like on these little corners, and just kind of, smooth the skin down a little bit. And then you can use the reverse to kind of go back this way and do that side. So always forward, reverse if you're going to do any skin work like that, just to make sure it's all clean. If you have the next, you can press pause and switch from forward to backward. If not, then you'll have to turn your machine off. You don't want to, mess up the gears or anything like that. But yeah, just like that. And it kind of cleans up that cuticle area so you can see it's much neater than it was. Okay. So just going to brush off any dust. Yeah, sorry about the belly reveal. Okay, there's one comment in Spanish. I don't know what that says. So I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can translate. If you're having issues about the machine, if you're close by to Anaheim area, you can always come to our headquarters and get the passport maintenance. A lot of people don't realize that we do offer maintenance services here at Coupa headquarters, but we do. We can fix your passport for you. That way you won't have to go without it or spend the money and buy a whole new one. So they can get it pretty much back to factory for you. And they can do the same thing with the handpiece. But when you bring it in, you want to make sure you have both the e-file and the handpiece no matter what. Everything that you get, just bring it that way in case if it's the charger or if it's the AC adapter, then they can know maybe it's not charging fully, something like that that's making it not work from day to day. So just bring it in, or you can mail it in as well, and then we can fix it for you. But give our customer service a call. Our number is on our page, so just double check that, but call our service and they can help you out. Okay. Now to the acrylic part. So I'm going to use our forms. We have some really good forms, and these ones have two length sizes. Well, I guess I didn't need to pull that off to show you, but we have the longer sticker. So this part is perforated, so you can do like, show length or anything like that. And if you just want to do a more professional length or everyday length, you can pull off this tab and just do that. And then you have a form for a more standard or everyday size nail. Okay. So this is what I like to do with my form. I already put the tabs together, and then I will come up under the free edge and then stick this back tab here, and then I'll come down and attach the back tab. So this tab I always do first, whether it's on the nail or not, and then I'll do this top tab and then this back tab, and that usually gives me a perfect fit every time. If you have a client that has a nail that's deeper into their nail bed, like let's say their free edge starts growing here, you can always cut like a little slit into your form and then push it up like that, so that way it can get a little deeper inside. Okay, so I'm going to use our, just kidding, prep first. Grab the wrong thing. We're going to use our pH balancing nail prep, and this is going to cleanse the nail, and you'll see it removes any debris, it dehydrates the nail, helps with adhesion, and then we will go in with our acid-free nail primer. And this will be the second step. And this is going to be if you're using our acrylic product to sculpt. And I'm just going to do our cover pink. Sorry, let me do that. And you'll see here, just cover pink. You can mix this with clear if you want to give a little bit of a sheer look. I'm just going to use it as is. Let me get another soft landings just so I can make sure it's not dusty. Okay. Okay, I have a 14 brush. I don't know if they have the 14 anymore or if it's just the 12. Um, but for full sets, I usually like to use a bigger brush. This again is the 14. I'm not sure if it's the 16 we stopped stocking or the 14, but I know we have the 12 on our site as well. If you guys still want like a bigger brush. Um, but yeah, I do prefer a little bit of a bigger brush for a full set. Otherwise, like for a fill, you can use like a 10 or so, or 12. Okay. So now I'm just going to dip in, make sure my brush is saturated. And then I kind of like to wipe off just to make sure. And then I'll tap a little bit. Just like that. And then I'll let the bead absorb the liquid. And then I'll drop it in the center. Okay. Okay, so just gonna pat down and kind of create our shape. And this form is really good because it kind of has some shapes already on the nail, and it has numbers so you can tell the length. But yeah, if you want to do like something round, it has like the little silver to show you, okay, a stiletto should be like within this line, an almond or a round should be within this line, and then the black shows you like if you want to do a square or a coffin shape, something like that. So you'll just, follow the guidelines accordingly. Okay. Okay, I'll let the liquid absorb into the bead, and then I will do the tip. And it's warm in the studio today, so it's been cold, so they've been wanting to keep it warm, but this week it's been kind of warm, so it's uh, kind of hot in here because of that. So that means my acrylic will set up quicker. So if you know You have to move a little faster when it's warmer, right? And then when it's colder, your acrylic might not set up as fast. So you can move a little slower or dry the bead off a little longer. Like you can press it against a paper towel or something like that. Okay. So I'm just trying to get a pointed shape so that way I don't have to do as much filing when time gets down to it. So I'm just trying to be a little more precise with how I'm laying the acrylic and how I'm sculpting it so that way I'll have less work for later. And just press on the inside where the acrylic is at. I'm trying not to get onto the skin, but I do want to separate that. So I just want to make sure I'm trying to line up more on the nail bed. Okay, there we go. There we go. So now we have a little sculpted nail, just like that. I don't know what the hell. I was like, why is it so loud? Whatever machine that was. Okay, so now while we're waiting for this to dry, I'm going to go back to this nail and then we're gonna debulk that nail, remove the acrylic that we have on there, and then I will show you how to do soft gel tip. So that application process is much quicker, so you guys can see the difference, and then and you can decide, you know, which one is the best fit for you. I personally, I still am an acrylic girl. I do love acrylic nails. They're harder for me. They're not as flexible, but you know, it's a little bit more security, I guess. And then for the soft gel tip, I find that it is flexible. It feels lighter. It looks more natural because, of course, they're thinner. So it just has more of a like just a natural thin slim look. So it just depends. I mean, you can always get the acrylic to look very natural as well, but the soft gel tips just are never as like sturdy. You know, you can't like open boxes and stuff with your nails like you would if you had an acrylic nail. So just something to keep in mind while you're trying to decide. Okay. Okay. Going across the nail and then up and down, or not up and down, but going from the cuticle to the free edge rather. Let me not say up and down because I don't want you guys doing this because that causes a lot of friction and the carbide bits only go one way. So unfortunately for lefties, um, you know, you can really only use it going from right to left because it only files going that way. That's just how they're made. These specific carbide bits, they're not made to go like back and forth. And again, that causes a lot of friction and can generate heat on the client's nail. So just another thing to keep in mind, because again, it's all about making the service comfortable for your client and not causing them any pain or any damage to their nail if you can help it. Well, you should be able to help it. You should be able to help it. But let me know if you guys have any questions. I know sometimes with the e-file, people do tend to ask a lot of questions. So just let me know. Okay. Okay. There we go. And again, just try to leave a little thin gel because I don't want to make those like little red rings. So again, like I said, I just want to show you guys, this is just the two different colors of, um, can we focus this at all?
Just keep it still.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so as you can see, it's just the two different colors of acrylic she had. This one was like more pink, and this one was more of a peach. So that's this discoloration. This is not what's on the nail bed. So when I go to prep it, you'll see it's not like damaged or in any way. Okay, just going to use my sanding band. There we go. I'm like, why isn't it working? There it is. I didn't have it closed all the way. Okay. So I'm just going to remove any shine and that excess product that's left over. This is like the growth part. So just trying to lightly remove that. And there was like white on the tip too from before. So just to give you guys an idea, all of this is just the colored gels. Okay. So there we go. That's all prepped now. I'm going to take my brush and just brush this off and remove any hangnails or anything like that. There we are. There's a little hangnail. Okay, there we go. Okay. So you can see here, we're all prepped, and you can still use your nail prep to dehydrate the nail, clean the nail off before we use our soft gel tip. And this shape, I'm going to use the almond letto. I know this is kind of longer. Actually, I'll show you. You can use we'll use the round medium, and you can always file it to match if it's the length that you want, and then just a little pointier. We have that because this one is the long almond letto that I have, so I don't want to have to file it so much to get the length when I can use my other shape here and just file it to get the point. So I'm just going to match up her nail size. So we have various sizes, and then we also offer replacement, so you can just refill your box. Let's see, this one is a 4. Let's try that. Okay, I think the 4 is the winner. It goes all the way across. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to prep the nail tip by just etching a little bit. They're pre-etched, but I do like to etch them further because this just, in my opinion, keeps it from falling off a little better. And then I go around and blend the edges. So you know how you can blend your wells on your uh, half tips. I do the same thing around the soft gel tips, even though they're full cover. So that way it just blends into the nail more and creates a more natural, seamless look. Oops. No! Where did it go? I just prepped it. Okay, forget that now. We're just going to start over because I feel like there's some of you guys that didn't see it anyway. So I'm going to show you guys how I prep the soft gel tip. So we're going to go in with the size 4. Love that. You know? Love that. So I etch on the inside. I'll use my sanding band and I'll go in and just kind of etch a little bit more. Like I said, they're pre-etched, but I just find that this helps it to me. And I go around the edges to blend the tip. And I'm sure some of you guys do this with your half tips when you guys do acrylic application or anything like that. So I just go around the sides and that helps blend the tips in a little better. I know it's a white background, so it's hard to see, but you can see I etched it a little more. All right, now don't drop it. Don't drop it. I will use my duet lamp to help me out here. And I'm just going to take my base coat and do a nice thin layer. Just kidding, this is matte. No white matte top coat. That is not going to work. I don't want that. I'm going to use my base coat, gel base here. And I'm just going to do a nice thin coat. Okay. Just a nice thin coat like that. And then we will cure. So this is like a 15-second cure. So I'm going to do this 2 times for the base coat because the base coat should be 30-second cure. I don't have my glow, but I'm just going to show you I can do this without that because I have my duet lamp and it is motion activated. So once you put your hand or whatever inside, it will turn on automatically. So that's good for soft gel tip usage, especially if you are doing it by yourself. It helps a ton. I'm going to use my adhesive to go in and just want to make sure. Oh, don't get lost. I'm going to go in with my gel adhesive, and I don't need to take a whole lot. Let me see if I can. Oops, not that. I don't want the light. I just wanted the light from the. There we go. And I just go back and forth like that to kind of get into the grooves. Now, this is how I kind of do it, just to make sure it's, you know, on there securely. Just like that. And then I'll get a little bit and put it like on the back. I'm just gonna just remove a little bit. You can kind of eyeball this after you've been doing it for so long, but just like a little tiny pool of it is good. And I'll show you why. So when you have the, let me make sure I'm in frame. If we can do the top view again. Sorry, no, I just want to try to get as much lighting on it. There we go. Perfect. So when I have my tip, I'm going to go in kind of at a 45-degree angle towards the cuticle, right? And then I'm going to push down firmly till all the gel goes down to the free edge. And then we will use our duet to cure. Sorry, I was just trying to lower it. And then you can bring that in maybe 2 more times, because if you have your Mani Pro Glow, your gel lamp, once you use this to kind of flash cure the nails onto your natural nail, then you go into your Mani Pro Glow and you would do it for 60 seconds to zap it for that long. But again, I just have my duet, so I'm just going to do this 4 times. So we already did it twice. This is the 3rd time, and then we're going to go in 1 more time to fulfill that 60 seconds. So 4 15-second cures on the duet lamp. So again, if you have your regular gel lamp, you will use that instead, so you don't have to keep, doing this. But just to show, this is sufficient to, to do your nails too. So there we go. I have that. Now you see the nail is on nice and secure. And there's no air bubble, which we want. And I used just enough that it covered just the free edge like that. See? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, where's my file?
Just a regular file.
Yeah, I just need a regular file, like a shaper buffer. Yeah, please. Okay, while we're waiting for the shaper buffer, I'm going to remove the tab here on our form and get that off, because this should be dry by now. And then we will, thank you so much. Thank you so much. There were some in the cup, but they're gone. And remove that so you can see. Nice. It's just a nice, little nail, sculpted nail that we have on there. And I'm going to have to shorten this, because this nail is actually about, well, it's a little longer, but it's about the length that we want. See? But this nail I made much longer, so you can see it's much longer. So I'll start here, and what I like to do is when I file, I know people file like this, right? They like to file like this. I file like that to kind of refine. When I'm doing a lot of buffing, I like to file vertically. I don't know why, but that's just my preference. I feel like it's faster, and you can get a more precise shape, I guess, because since it's already flat, you're getting your flatter edge. And then you can go in, see how it shortened it really quick. It shortened it pretty fast. Then you can go in. Let's first be gentle and remove the acrylic that was on the side. So gentle around any skin, around the cuticle. That's when you want to move like this, side to side. And get the shape you want. There we go. going to try to make a straight line from the sidewalls to the free edge of the nail. I wish I had a arm. Where's the armrest? Yeah, I'm like, where's the armrest? Okay, sorry about that. I didn't give Val the armrest. And now usually it's right there on the edge. But it's okay. We're used to, not knowing where our things are.
Make it work.
We make it work. Because it normally is there. But like I said, if it's me, they change everything. They change everything around. Okay. So now that we have a nice straight line, from the sidewalls all the way to the free edge. Just like that. The nail is done. Let me just try to get this side to kind of match. Okay, there we go. Better. Perfect. That's what I like. For this one, a little easier because it's already in the shape. I just have to make it a little shorter. And this nail is much thinner than the soft gel tips. So basically they're just made out of gel. They're just already formed like a full cover tip. So it's much easier to file. You don't have to work as hard as with the acrylic, because again, acrylic is much harder medium. But this nail is very sturdy too, don't get me wrong, because I wore soft gel tips at my wedding and I had those nails on for like a month. And I'm not too, easy on my hands, I'll say that. So, I was still using my hand like I normally would. I wasn't being extra careful or anything, and I didn't break any of the nails. So the soft gel tips are still very, very durable. Just, I don't want to deter you away from them by any means because they are really good. But it's just a matter of preference. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Now I'm gonna buff and then the soft gel tip will be done. So I buff so that way the polish can adhere to the nail. It's not going to stick to a smooth surface. So when we're ready to polish, that will be taken care of. But for the acrylic nail, we are going to have to finish file. So even though the nail is pretty you know, smooth, I laid it as smooth as I could on purpose because you always want to work smarter, not harder. So if you can lay it right, practice that because that helps you so much on application and all of that. And it helps you become quicker the easier you can master sculpting nails on the form that way that, or on the nail tip, whichever is your preference, that way that you don't have to do as much finish filing after the fact. You can just kind of create the smoothness that you want and then move on. So I'm going to use a fine, I'll use a fine, which is the white bit. I have my other typhoon bit here. And I'm just going to finish file. So go around the cuticle area. I'm trying to keep, so this bit is beveled, you see? So I'm not really going into the skin. I'm trying to make sure it's flat. So that's why it looks like it's a little bit more down, but it's really not. I'm just trying to make it a little flat because I'm using the very edge. And I want it to have some contact And you'll be able to feel that when you're using this typhoon. So just going to refine the shape and okay. And I try to look on all sides just to make sure. You know. Okay. And if you want to use a diamond bit to remove any of those um, little scratches and finish file, you definitely can. And then we'll use the shaper buffer. So I'm just kind of smoothing away those imperfections. Okay, so you see those scratches are removed, and then you can go in with your shaper buffer and refine some more. And you always want to buff so that way the nails are smooth and they don't have lumps. Or if there are lumps, you'll be able to see them much better when it's buffed. And then you can fix them. Going around, just making sure that the nail is smooth. And then you can see, you know, turn to the side, there's no lumps, and then go down the barrel of the nail and you'll see, okay, is everything even from edge to edge? Yes. Okay. You know, that's how I look. I always check one side, the other side, down the barrel of the nail, like just like that. Okay, and you'll notice the nail is smooth, and then you are all done with the sculpting part. And you can get to the fun part, which is the nail arts. So, you know, just to give you guys a little tutorial on how to apply the soft gel and the acrylic nail. So which one do you guys prefer? Do you guys like soft gel tips? How fast that was? You see, I was able to do that in the time that I'm waiting for the nails to dry and all that. And if you have a client with a ton of nail art requests, I personally like to push them towards the soft gel tip if they like it, because you can do all of your nail art in a much shorter time versus doing a full set of acrylic and then the nail art, because those appointments can be up to 4 hours when you're talking about, you know, a freestyle or something like that, depending on how elaborate. Like, let's say we're doing different nails on, you know, different designs on each nail, maybe chrome, maybe, you know, different mediums like 3D, stuff like that. You can be there for a good 3 to 4 hours. So when you have the soft gel tips, you can cut that time down by a significant amount. And they both are great looks, right? You have a more thin look here, and you have still a very thin but a more sturdy nail here with the acrylic. So, you know, you can get an idea of what it looks like. And these soft gel tips pretty much are just like wearing your natural nail. You don't even feel them. But yeah, so there you go. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Drop comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Bye.